Welcome Snoozy friends to the channel's new playlist on the planets of our solar system. Today we would be drifting toward our seventh planet Uranus and its journey. What is it made of? And the impact of Uranus on our lives. Close your eyes, relax, and let's start our journey. One favor from our listeners, please do comment how did you like the video, as it helps us to keep making more. Also like and help other snoozy mates by sharing. Let's begin. Close your eyes now. The room around you fades. The day releases its weight. And your breath slows. Like a tide settling into stillness. Far above your head, beyond Earth's blue sky, beyond the moon's quiet pull, and past the golden shimmer of Saturn's rings, there lies a pale, distant light. Uranus. It does not glow bright like Venus. It does not roar with storms like Jupiter. It waits. Far beyond the reach of our sun's warmth, Uranus floats in near silence, a ghostly blue lantern in the cold dark of the outer solar system. You begin to drift toward it now. Not in a rocket. Not with effort. But gently, as if pulled by curiosity itself. Stars slide past you in the silence. You pass the asteroid belt, the gas giants. And beyond Saturn's golden glow, the space around you changes. The sun is smaller here, a distant candle. Light moves slower in feeling, dimmed by distance. Everything is quieter. Colder. Older. And then, there it is. Uranus. Not sharp, not loud, but serene. Its pale aquamarine glow is soft like moonlight underwater. Its disk smooth and almost featureless from far away. But within that stillness, there is wonder. You drift closer, and the curve of the planet grows wide beneath you. Welcome to the seventh planet from the Sun. Where time stretches long. Where seasons last decades. Where the world spins sideways. And silence is not emptiness, but elegance. Carried in the wind, Uranus is far, over 2.8 billion kilometers from the Sun. That's 19 times farther than Earth. A year here lasts 84 Earth years. It is the third largest planet by diameter, just behind Saturn. And yet, it's often forgotten, distant, dim, overlooked. But in that forgetfulness, Uranus has kept its secrets. And now, you are here to listen. Breathe in. Breathe out. You are floating in orbit now. Surrounded by deep quiet, soft starlight, and the pale blue of Uranus turning slowly beneath you. Tonight, we will drift layer by layer. Through clouds, through rings, through time. We will listen to this sideways planet. And by listening, rest. You drift closer now, to the ice giant. And the soft glow of Uranus becomes more than light. It becomes a feeling of hush, of cold, of spaciousness. This is no stormy gas giant. This is something subtler. A world not built from fire, but from frost. Uranus is one of two planets, along with Neptune, that astronomers classify as ice giants. It isn't made mostly of hydrogen and helium, like Jupiter or Saturn. Instead, beneath its upper clouds lies a deep mantle rich in water, ammonia, and methane ices. It's not icy like a freezer, hard and dry. It's more like a deep, pressurized ocean of strange, exotic slush. A soup of chemicals. A heart of cold. The atmosphere may seem serene from far away, featureless and smooth, but beneath that calm lies a world filled with layers of cold chemistry. Imagine descending through the atmosphere. First, you would fall through a high layer of methane gas, the very gas that gives Uranus its beautiful bluish-green hue. Below that, clouds of hydrogen sulfide might swirl in ghostly ribbons, a foul-smelling chemical that we associate with rotten eggs, floating invisibly here in alien form. Deeper still, the pressure rises. Temperatures fall. Ices no longer behave like they do on Earth. Water becomes superpressurized. Ammonia mixes with methane. Electric currents may flow through slushy layers, creating strange magnetic effects. This world is layered, invisibly complex, rich in chemistry and ancient frost. And at the very center? Perhaps a small, rocky core, just a few times the mass of Earth, hidden under oceans of compressed ice and unknown states of matter. No one has seen it. No probe has ever entered Uranus's deep mantle. But we imagine it. We dream of it. And tonight, we drift above that silent ocean, feeling not the cold, but the clarity that comes from distance. What makes Uranus an ice giant? Scientists use the term ice differently than we do in daily life. In astronomy, ices include any molecules heavier than hydrogen and helium, like water, HO, ammonia, NH, and methane, CH. Uranus is rich in these. Not as gases, but as compressed fluids and slushy mixtures under pressure. These materials, abundant in the outer solar system, never formed rocks here, they formed giants of frost. And among them, Uranus is the quietest, the least active, the coldest of all the major planets. Yet it holds its mystery like a poem whispered in a glacier. You hover in that hush now, floating just above the clouds. Let the stillness settle around you. Let your breath follow the rhythm of this quiet world. In and out, like methane clouds rolling through blue twilight. You are learning something here. Not in words, but in presence. The tilted world. Most planets spin like tops, upright, with their poles angled just a little. Earth is tilted at 23.5 degrees. Mars at 25. Even Saturn and Jupiter lean modestly as they dance through space. But Uranus? Uranus lies on its side. Its tilt is not 10 or 20 or 30 degrees. It's 98 degrees. Nearly a full quarter turn from what we would call upright. Imagine spinning a globe not from top to bottom, but from side to side, with the poles facing where most planets have equators. That is Uranus. A planet turned sideways, and yet continuing its slow, perfect orbit, undisturbed. Because of this unique tilt, Uranus's seasons are the most extreme in the solar system. One pole faces the Sun for more than 21 Earth years, while the other is plunged into continuous darkness. Then they switch. For nearly half of Uranus's 84 Earth-year orbit, each hemisphere either basks in unending sunlight or shivers through decades of night. You float now above the northern hemisphere. It's bathed in a long, soft dawn, with a light stretched thin, like twilight that refuses to end. Shadows don't move here the way they do on Earth. The day doesn't rise and fall. Instead, light slowly drifts sideways, slanting across the clouds in endless pores. You can imagine what it must be like below. A sky where the sun hovers at the horizon for years. A cold land of twilight and deep color. A silence that is not absence, but balance. What caused the tilt? Astronomers still ask that question. Some believe Uranus was struck by a massive body early in its life, perhaps a planet-sized object, knocking it onto its side. Others wonder if gravitational interactions with Saturn or Neptune slowly twisted its orientation through resonant tugs and long-term chaos. It could even have been more than one collision, more than one chance meeting. And so, Uranus spins sideways, not by accident, but as part of its mysterious history. Whatever caused the tilt, it left a mark. Not a scar, but a posture. A posture of stillness indifference. Of rotation as ritual. Of orbits done quietly and sideways. Uranus does not behave like its siblings. It does not seek attention. Its storms are subtle. Its light is dim. Its rings are dark. And its spin, its tilted, slow, deliberate spin, reminds us that there is grace in being different. You watch it now. This gentle giant turns slowly before you. Its pole nearly pointed at the sun. Its rings circling like a halo around its middle, vertical like a crown. And as it turns, the light shifts. The winds adjust. And the long seasons unfold, not in days or weeks, but in generations. You breathe in time with the planet's rhythm now. Not in hours, but in epochs. Breathe in. And let go. You're spinning, too. The rings of shadows. At first, you don't see them. They're not like Saturn's, wide and brilliant and proud. They are not Jupiter's or Neptune's, faint and dusty. Uranus's rings are quiet. Thin. Dark. Almost hidden against the pale glow of the planet. But as your eyes adjust, as your thoughts slow, they begin to reveal themselves. Thin arcs of shadow, wrapped around the tilted equator of this frozen world. A whisper of motion in the black. There are 13 known rings today. But for centuries, no one even knew they existed. A hidden halo. It wasn't until 1977 that Uranus's rings were first discovered. And even then, it happened by accident. Astronomers were watching Uranus pass in front of a distant star. As the planet approached, the star's light blinked, not once, but multiple times. Those tiny dips in brightness? Rings. Rings so dark and narrow, they reflected very little sunlight. Made mostly of large, icy particles, covered with dark material, perhaps carbon-rich compounds or radiation-darkened dust. Not showy. Not bright. But there. Ancient. Delicate. True. What are they made of? These rings are composed of rocky and icy particles, some as small as dust, others as wide as a house. They are not soft snowflakes. They are cold, solid, dark pieces, possibly remnants of moons shattered by ancient collisions. In fact, the rings may be very young in cosmic terms. Maybe just 600 million years old, younger than Earth's earliest life. And yet, they circle this planet with the confidence of age. Each ring has a name, from Epsilon, the brightest, to Zeta and Nu, barely visible. Some rings are only a few kilometers wide, knife-thin bands orbiting at thousands of kilometers per hour. Because Uranus spins sideways, its rings are also tilted compared to every other ring system in the solar system. Imagine standing at the planet's pole, looking up, and seeing rings go vertically around you, instead of horizontally like Saturn's. It's disorienting at first, and then deeply beautiful. You float now among them. Particles drift past. Some as small as grains of sand. Others gliding by like silent ships. You're not moving fast, not in feeling. Everything is slow. Measured. Quiet. As if the rings are singing a song, but only to themselves. And you are allowed to listen. Uranus's rings teach us that not all beauty is bright. That not all stories shout. Some things are meant to be discovered slowly. In shadow. In silence. They remind us that mystery is not always a question, sometimes it is an answer. And so, you float here, between particles, among ghosts. Watching light bend, and time soften. Listening to the music that faint rings make, not in sound, but in stillness. You are welcome here. You belong in this orbit. You begin to descend, slowly, through a vast and ghostly sky. Above you, the rings fade into distance. Below you, the clouds of Uranus spread out in pale, muted color, blue, green, silver, and gray, blurred like breath on cold glass. The air feels calm. Not loud with thunder like Jupiter. Not striped with storms like Saturn. Here, the sky is subtle. Soft. Hushed. But this stillness is not emptiness. Within the pale disguise, winds race. Uranus holds some of the fastest winds in the solar system. They reach 900 kilometers per hour, 560 miles per hour, faster than a commercial airplane. Yet unlike Earth's roaring hurricanes, these winds are invisible, masking themselves in the uniformity of the cloud tops. You wouldn't know they were there unless you looked closely. Unless you followed the movement of faint features drifting slowly across a featureless sky. It's like watching mist move through mist. Motion without edges. Sound without voice. You float through it now, slowly. Wrapped in soft gases. The atmosphere of Uranus is built in delicate tiers. The uppermost layer is rich in hydrogen and helium, clear and colorless on its own. But mixed in is a small amount of methane gas, and that makes all the difference. Methane absorbs red light and reflects blue, which is why Uranus shines in that cool, aquamarine glow. Below that, there may be clouds of hydrogen sulfide, a compound that smells like rotten eggs on Earth, but here, it's just part of the silence. Even deeper still could be ammonia, ice or water clouds, though no probe has ever entered the depths to confirm. This atmosphere is cold, extremely so. Uranus holds the record for the coldest planetary temperature ever measured in our solar system. -224 degrees Celsius, -371 degrees Fahrenheit. It's colder than Neptune, even though Neptune is farther from the Sun. Why? Because Uranus gives off almost no internal heat. Most gas giants radiate more energy than they receive, glowing softly from within due to leftover heat from formation. But Uranus? It's quiet inside. It gives back almost nothing. Why doesn't Uranus emit heat like the others? We don't fully know. Maybe its internal layers trap the heat. Or maybe something in its early history, like a collision, released much of it into space. Some say Uranus's coldness isn't just a measurement. It's a signature. A fingerprint of a past we haven't yet fully read. And tonight, as you float deeper through its clouds, you feel that history. In the hush. In the still winds. In the breathless cold. But there is beauty here. Soft glows. Misty clouds. Wisps of weather unfolding in decades, not days. This is not a sky of chaos. This is a sky of rest. You feel it settle in your lungs, your thoughts, your limbs. A sky made of fog and grace. You've passed the whispering clouds. Now, silence becomes even deeper. The pressure increases. The light fades. There is no surface, only depth. You are falling inward, not toward a hard floor, but through strata of strangeness. The planet embraces you with calm density, 1,000 layers of shifting form. This is the interior of Uranus. And no one has seen it. Not directly. Not through photos. Not with instruments. We can only imagine it. Through physics, through models, through dreams. And tonight, you imagine it too. With wonder. Beneath the blue clouds lies a mantle unlike any Earth has ever known. It is not made of rock. Not made of air. It is composed of superpressurized fluids, mostly water, ammonia, and methane. These are not like your cup of water or your kitchen cleaner. Under the crushing pressure and freezing cold, they behave like strange, exotic oceans, fluid, but dense, shifting in unexpected ways. We call it an icy mantle. But it is more than ice. It is a slush of complex chemistry. At the center, there is likely a rocky core. Perhaps 1 to 3 times the mass of Earth. But it's not like Earth's core, which glows and boils with molten iron. The core of Uranus may be small, solid, and cold. Its heat long gone, its story settled. Uranus emits very little internal energy. In fact, it's almost perfectly in balance. The heat it absorbs from the sun is nearly equal to what it radiates. This is rare. This is strange. Why does Uranus sleep so deeply, while Jupiter and Neptune burn within a fire? Perhaps a violent past robbed it of its heat. Perhaps its layered structure traps warmth in strange, insulating shells. Or perhaps Uranus is teaching us that not all power is loud. Some worlds shine softly. Some cores go quiet. And still, they remain vast. And real. and whole. In these deep, slushy layers, scientists believe something extraordinary may occur. Carbon, under intense pressure, may crystallize into diamond. Tiny diamonds, forming, falling. Like rain. Imagine that. Glittering stones, denser than air, dropping slowly through the icy dark. Not sparkling like jewelry, but shifting like hail through liquid black. No one has seen it. But the math suggests it is possible. And so, Uranus may have diamond storms. Not thunder and lightning, but a quiet shower of gems. Falling forever. Even though we've never touched the core of Uranus, we can study it indirectly. By watching how the planet moves. How it pulls on its moons. How it spins. How it wobbles. These clues help us build a picture. A model of what may lie beneath. It's like listening through a wall and hearing the echo of something unseen. Tonight, you don't need measurements. You simply feel it. The weight. The stillness. The elegance of a world built not on fire, but on cold clarity. You are deep in the heart of the sideways dreamer. And all is calm. As you float outward again, leaving the cold slush and imagined core behind, you find yourself surrounded by shadows that move. They're not storms. They're not clouds. They're moons. Small worlds, icy and dark, orbiting quietly around Uranus. There are 27 known moons in total, and almost all of them are named after characters from the works of William Shakespeare and Alexander Pope, not gods, not warriors, but poets, lovers, dreamers. The largest 5 are Titania, Oberon, Umbriel, Ariel, Miranda, and each one has a story of its own. Written in ice, shadow, and time. Let us visit them now, softly, one by one. Miranda, the patchwork moon. You drift first toward Miranda, the smallest of the big 5. It's only about 470 kilometers wide, barely larger than a big asteroid, yet it's one of the most fascinating moons in the solar system. Miranda looks like it was taken apart and then put back together wrong. Its surface is fractured, ridged, jumbled, with enormous canyons that plunge deeper than the Grand Canyon on Earth. There are cliffs, craters, and oval-shaped regions that look like the crust has been stitched together. Some scientists believe Miranda once broke apart, possibly from a collision, and was reassembled by its own gravity. Others think internal heating caused its surface to crack and shift. Whatever the truth, Miranda wears her scars like a poem. Broken. Beautiful. Resilient. Ariel, the bright one. Next comes Ariel, the most reflective of Uranus's major moons. Its surface shines softly with frozen water ice, a pale, clean world. Ariel shows signs of recent geological activity. It has long valleys and smooth plains, the marks of cryovolcanism, where icy slush once erupted like lava. This moon may once have had internal heat, enough to resurface part of its crust. Now, it sleeps. But its brightness remains. A light in the shadows. Umbriel, the dark listener. Then comes Umbriel, the darkest of the five. Covered in carbon-rich compounds, Umbriel reflects almost no sunlight, just a few percent. It is like a coal in orbit, heavy, cold, and quiet. There's a strange, bright ring-shaped feature on its surface, called wonder. No one knows what it is. A crater? An impact scar? A mystery left for future explorers? Umbriel whispers secrets and waits. Titania, the Queen of Ice. Now we visit Titania, the largest of Uranus's moons. She is nearly 1,580 kilometers wide, about half the diameter of Earth's moon. Titania is carved with canyons and cracks hundreds of kilometers long. Once, perhaps, she too had internal warmth. Now, her surface is ancient, cratered, and calm. But Titania still turns, slowly, steadily, in synchronous orbit, always showing Uranus the same face. Like a dancer locked in perfect rotation with her partner. Oberon, the Ghost King. Lastly, you meet Oberon, second largest and furthest of the Big Five. He is dark and distant, his surface marked by ancient craters and towering mountains. Some of his craters seem to be filled with a mysterious dark material, perhaps ice mixed with dust, or organic compounds altered by cosmic radiation. Oberon is Uranus's outermost large moon, orbiting more than 580,000 kilometers away from the planet. You float past him now, gently. And he does not speak. But he sees. The family of shadows. These moons, Titania, Oberon, Ariel, Umbriel, Miranda, are ancient. Formed perhaps from the same disk of gas and ice that once surrounded Uranus billions of years ago. Or maybe they were captured, thrown into orbit by gravity's unseen hand. We still don't fully know. And that's part of the magic. These frozen worlds, orbiting a sideways planet, speak softly, not in facts, but in presence. They are not just moons. They are stories, waiting to be told. And tonight, as you drift past them one by one, you are part of that story, not as a visitor, but as a witness. The Uranus you see now, spinning on its side, cloaked in shadowy rings, orbited by icy moons, was not always this way. In the beginning, like its fellow giants, Uranus likely spun upright. It faced the sun like all the others. Its poles pointed modestly, its rings aligned with the rest of the solar family. Its seasons were balanced, its orbit steady. And then, something happened. Something colossal. Something violent. Something that would tilt an entire planet. The impact hypothesis. Many scientists believe that Uranus was struck billions of years ago by a massive object, perhaps twice the size of Earth. A primordial collision. This wasn't a small bump or glancing blow. It was a planet-shifting event. A world colliding with another world. Not destroying Uranus, but tipping it almost all the way onto its side. 98 degrees. It was enough to change the planet's rotation axis, alter its internal structure, and perhaps even affect the orbits of its moons. Imagine it. A young solar system. Newborn planets moving through clouds of debris. gravity pulling, chaos reigning. And then, a strike. An impact that didn't end a planet, but redefined it. Aftermath of a cosmic blow. The immediate effects would have been unimaginable. Heat and shock rippling through Uranus's core. Rings forming from debris. Moons thrown into chaos. Some destroyed, others captured or reformed. Some models suggest the impact ejected Uranus's original moons. Others say the planet's internal layers shifted, blocking the flow of heat, perhaps explaining why Uranus is so cold today. It may also explain why its magnetic field is so unusual, tilted and lopsided, unlike any other major planet. Even its ring system, narrow and tilted, might be a consequence of this ancient drama. One event, echoing through billions of years. A different kind of balance. And yet, Uranus did not break. It did not fall apart. It found a new rhythm. It spun on, sideways, slowly, elegantly, as if this tilt had always been part of its nature. Its moons fell into new orbits. Its seasons stretched. Its winds adjusted. It became something rare. Not a ruin, but a reinvention. A planet that absorbed chaos and turned it into calm. Tonight, you reflect on that. How change, even sudden and violent, can lead to new beauty. How a sideways planet can still circle the sun with poise. How even great collisions leave room for peace. Uranus whispers, "It is not how you begin. It is how you turn." And you, like the planet, continue turning, gently, quietly, through the stars. Time moves differently on Uranus. It stretches, unfurls, flows like mist through the branches of an ancient forest. Here, a single year, the time it takes Uranus to orbit once around the Sun, lasts 84 Earth years. Which means one Uranian summer spans 21 years. One winter just as long. Spring and autumn? Brief by comparison, lasting only a few Earth years, like fleeting whispers between decades of shadow and light. But the real wonder lies not just in the length of the seasons, but in how they happen. Because Uranus, as you've seen, doesn't spin upright. It rolls. Tilted almost perfectly sideways, with its axis lying nearly in the plane of its orbit. This turns seasons into something alien. When poles face the sun. Imagine standing on the North Pole of Uranus during summer. The sun would rise in the sky one day, and then never set. For 21 Earth years, sunlight would stream constantly over the icy clouds above, not circling overhead like on Earth, but hovering, turning in slow spirals. The light would be dim, the sun a tiny disk in the sky, more like a bright star than a blazing orb. But still, it would shine. Then, slowly, the sun would drift toward the horizon and disappear for another 21-year stretch of night. This is what happens at both poles. Each takes a turn bathing in light, then sinking into frozen dusk. While one hemisphere lives in perpetual day, the other sleeps in endless dark. Equinox, a brief balance. Twice every Uranian year, once every 42 Earth years, the planet reaches equinox. That is when Uranus's equator, not its pole, faces the Sun. For a short while, the sunlight is spread evenly across both hemispheres. This is when the rings become edge-on from our point of view. They vanish from telescopes, not because they are gone, but because they are so thin, so perfectly aligned, that they disappear like a hair held sideways. It is a moment of balance, of symmetry, before the planet leans again, and the long seasons resume. Effects of these seasons. But what do these endless seasons do to Uranus? Surprisingly, not much that we can see. At least, not yet. Unlike Jupiter and Saturn, Uranus's atmosphere is quiet, with few large storms. Its weather patterns don't seem to respond as dramatically to sunlight. But perhaps they do, slowly, deeply, beneath the clouds, in cycles too long for a single mission or human lifetime to observe. Or maybe Uranus, like a monk in meditation, simply lets the light come and go without reaction. Content in solitude. Still in the passage of time. A meditation in orbit. You float above the poles now. Below, the planet turns in silence. On Earth, we mark seasons with calendars, solstices, equinoxes, rituals. On Uranus, a single season could be a lifetime. To live on this world would mean growing old under a single sky, either day or night, and knowing change not as a flicker, but as a gradual sigh. And isn't that a kind of beauty? Time not racing forward, but stretching out. Giving space. Inviting stillness. You breathe in that spaciousness now. Letting your thoughts drift as the pale light of Uranus lingers over one hemisphere and leaves the other in slumber. Everything is slow here. But nothing is still. Not really. Voyager 2's visit. Imagine a lonely spacecraft. Small, silent, solar-powered no more. Drifting through the dark for nearly a decade. Crossing millions of kilometers of empty space. Its name? Voyager 2. Launched by NASA on August 20, 1977. Voyager 2 was one of a pair of twin probes built for the Grand Tour. A once-in-175 years planetary alignment that allowed a spacecraft to visit all four outer planets using a series of gravity assists. First came Jupiter, then Saturn, and then, in January 1986, Uranus. The sideways planet. The stranger in the family. The ghostly world, dim and distant. Voyager 2 was the first, and still the only, spacecraft to ever fly past Uranus. The encounter was brief. Voyager 2 didn't enter orbit. It didn't land. It didn't stay. It simply passed by, swinging within 81,500 kilometers, 50,600 miles, of Uranus's cloud tops, closer than many satellites orbit Earth. In that short time, the spacecraft measured winds, temperatures, and magnetic fields. Imaged the rings, revealing details no telescope on Earth had ever seen. Discovered 10 new moons. Detected strange behaviors in the planet's magnetosphere. And showed the world that Uranus was not dull, just deeply subtle. The images it sent back were pale, the planet seemed featureless. But later analysis revealed faint bands, spots, and hidden weather systems. What appeared still was actually alive. A tilted magnet. One of Voyager's great surprises was Uranus's magnetic field. It's not just tilted, like the planet's axis, it's wildly off-center and tilted at 59 degrees from the rotational axis. This means Uranus's magnetic field is lopsided. It doesn't run from pole to pole, but rather from somewhere off-center, like a magnet glued into the wrong place inside a spinning toy. The result? As Uranus spins, its magnetic field wobbles, twists, and flickers, creating a complex and unpredictable magnetosphere. It's unlike anything seen around Earth, Jupiter, or Saturn. Strange. Beautiful. Perfectly Uranian. Voyager 2 gave us thousands of images, measurements, and mysteries. But once it passed Uranus, it kept going. Toward Neptune. Then beyond the solar system. No probe has returned since. No orbiter. No lander. No flyby. For nearly 40 years, Uranus has waited, spinning in sideways solitude, holding its secrets, whispering to the moons. As you float above the planet now, you think of Voyager 2. That brief visitor, that lone ambassador of humanity. It reminds us that even the faintest worlds are worth reaching. That even one short visit can change everything. And that discovery doesn't always require presence. Sometimes, it just requires attention. You are Voyager now. Not in machinery, but in spirit. You have come far. You have listened. And the sideways dreamer has spoken. In the grand family of the solar system, there are two ice giants. Uranus. Neptune. Though both are often lumped together with the gas giants, Jupiter and Saturn. They are something else entirely. Smaller. Colder. Bluer. Richer in elements heavier than hydrogen and helium. They are ice giants, not because they are made of snow and frost, but because their interiors contain ices, materials that, under Earth-like conditions, would be solids. Water. Ammonia. Methane. Yet here, under immense pressure, these ices flow as supercritical fluids, neither gas nor liquid, but something in between. The result? A world of complex chemistry, exotic weather, and deep, slow change. Why are ice giants different? Gas giants like Jupiter and Saturn are mostly made of hydrogen and helium, the lightest, most abundant elements in the universe. But Uranus and Neptune? They're only about 15% hydrogen and helium. The rest is heavier, ices, rock, and other elements that create thicker mantles, darker clouds, and unique dynamics. They also lack the mass to compress their interiors the way Jupiter can. So instead of a dense, crushing core of metallic hydrogen, Uranus has an interior made of slushy, shifting fluids, cooler, stranger, less understood. This composition makes the ice giants dimmer, slower, and in some ways, more mysterious. They don't shine as brightly. They don't storm as dramatically. But they whisper something profound. That not all giants are loud. Some are made of silence. Some of subtlety. A rarity in the universe? And yet, ironically, though Jupiter and Saturn are the most visible giants in our solar system, in other star systems beyond our Sun, Uranus-like planets may be far more common. Thousands of exoplanets have been discovered, and many of them are between Earth and Neptune in size, the so-called sub-Neptunes and mini-Neptunes. These distant worlds, often shrouded in haze, may resemble Uranus more than anything else we know. Which means, understanding Uranus may be key to understanding the galaxy. What Uranus can teach us. Uranus holds answers to questions we haven't yet thought to ask. How do planets form far from their stars? What strange atmospheres can evolve under cold, slow suns? What lies beneath the clouds of sub-Neptune worlds across the cosmos? Studying Uranus could unlock models of planetary evolution, reveal magnetic field mysteries, or even help explain how planetary systems, like ours, come to be. And yet, it waits. Cold, quiet, patient. A teacher uncalled, a story unread. Tonight, as you float in thought above the swirling blue clouds, you realize you are part of that search. Not as a scientist in a lab, not as an engineer building probes, but as a listener, a dreamer, one who sees value in quiet worlds. Uranus is not flashy, not fiery, not easy, but it is real. And in its reality lies truth. About nature, about difference, about beauty not yet fully seen. You are drifting now. Not forward, not back, but outward, beyond the gravity of Uranus, past its icy moons and dusky rings, into the deeper silence of space. The planet is smaller behind you now, still glowing faintly, that serene, bluish light, soft as frozen breath. Its tilt is still visible, its poles still pointed toward eternity. And yet, it seems to whisper, "Thank you for noticing me." Because not many do. Uranus has waited for billions of years. It does not roar like Jupiter. It does not shine like Venus. It does not charm the eye with rings like Saturn. It has no great storms to boast of, no nearby spacecraft to keep it company. Only moons, and wind, and time. But in that space, that stillness, Uranus has become something unique. A planet of poetry. It teaches in whispers. It reveals only to the patient. It reminds us that strangeness is not a flaw. It is a feature of being fully formed. And tonight, as you leave its orbit, you carry that quiet with you. A stillness inside you that was not there before. The stars surround you again. Other planets wait ahead. More voices to hear. More truths to hold. But Uranus will stay with you, not as a memory, but as a feeling. The weight of soft winds. The glint of shadowed rings. The moons that orbit in silence. You remember the strange magnetic field dancing at angles. The frozen storms that never roar. The tilted axis a mystery born from collision. The diamonds that may fall like rain in a mantle no one has seen. The 84-year seasons, where a lifetime passes under one sky. The visit of Voyager 2, a brief hello from a distant world. And the quiet dignity of a planet that needs no approval to be beautiful. Uranus has shown you that quiet can be majestic. That what is sideways can still move forward. That solitude is not emptiness, but a form of cosmic grace. Sleep, now. With planets behind you, and the cosmos before you. Good night.